Ford just rolled out updates for the 2026 Maverick that are dividing the truck community a lot. Some changes fix long-standing problems, but others raise serious questions about where Ford is taking America's most affordable pickup. From a performance trim that doesn't actually add performance to safety features locked behind paywalls, these updates are sparking heated debates on every owner forum. Let's check them out. Number 5. Lobo looks but doesn't perform. Ford is positioning the new Lobo trim as the performance-oriented variant of the Maverick lineup, and visually it certainly plays the part. The Lobo arrives with lowered suspension, upgraded brakes, distinctive 19-inch rally-inspired wheels, and aggressive styling cues that scream performance truck. There's even a dedicated Lobo driving mode designed to encourage the rear end to drift when exiting corners. For anyone scrolling through the configurator, this looks like Ford's answer to enthusiasts who've been demanding a hot version of the Maverick. But here's where things get controversial. Despite all the performance posturing, the Lobo features the exact same 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder as the standard XLT and Lariat trims, producing identical horsepower and torque figures. Yes, Ford swapped the 8-speed automatic for a 7-speed with paddle shifters, and yes, the suspension tuning is sportier. But under the hood, zero additional power. So the Lobo handles better in corners and stops shorter thanks to upgraded brakes, but when you need to accelerate hard, you're getting the exact same experience as someone who paid thousands less for an XLT. For buyers expecting something comparable to what Toyota does with the Tacoma TRD Pro or what Ram offers with the Rebel, the Lobo is going to feel like a letdown. When you're paying a premium for the Lobo nameplate, getting the same powertrain as cheaper trims feels like Ford is selling the sizzle without the steak. But if you think the Lobo's unchanged engine is disappointing, wait until you hear about the hybrid's all-wheel drive situation. Number 4. Hybrid all-wheel drive, great addition, questionable execution. This is arguably the most significant mechanical update for 2026, and Ford deserves credit for finally making all-wheel drive available on the hybrid powertrain. For years, Maverick hybrid buyers were locked into front-wheel drive, which limited traction in adverse weather and compromised off-road capability for a truck that's marketed as adventure-ready. Picture yourself loading camping gear on a rainy Friday evening, knowing you'll be navigating wet Forest Service roads to reach your campsite. Or imagine trying to back a boat trailer down a slippery launch ramp without the confidence of power going to all 4 wheels. These are the situations where front-wheel drive feels inadequate in a truck. The addition of all-wheel drive addresses these real-world anxieties head-on. More importantly, pairing the hybrid with all-wheel drive and the towing package now unlocks a maximum towing capacity of 4,000 pounds, matching what the Turbo 4 offers. Buyers who wanted the fuel efficiency of the hybrid but needed genuine all-weather capability or occasional off-road performance now have their answer. The hybrid all-wheel drive configuration brings the Maverick closer to being the true all-rounder that Ford promises in its marketing. But here's the controversial part that's dividing the community. Despite adding all-wheel drive, a feature that typically requires additional power to manage the extra weight and drivetrain losses, the hybrid's output remains completely unchanged at 191 horsepower. That's the same figure as the front-wheel drive hybrid. Ford made no adjustments to compensate for the added weight and complexity of the all-wheel drive system, meaning performance is going to take a hit compared to the lighter front-wheel drive version. Even more frustrating is the pricing trajectory. When the Maverick first launched, its appeal centered on being an affordable truck that everyday buyers could actually afford. The base hybrid started around $20,000 in its early days. Fast forward to 2026, and the Maverick hybrid is nowhere near as affordable as it was just a few years ago. Base models are pushing $30,000, and adding all-wheel drive brings the price even higher. For a truck that was supposed to be Ford's answer to runaway pickup pricing, the Maverick is now creeping into the same territory it was designed to undercut. Speaking of things that haven't changed enough, the exterior styling tells a similar story. Number 3. Styling updates that barely register. Ford gave the Maverick a mid-cycle refresh, and the changes are there if you look closely enough. The front end receives darkened headlamp covers, a redesigned bumper and grille, and new wheel designs across the lineup. There are also fresh exterior paint colors like Marsh Gray and Orange Fury Metallic Tri-Coat for buyers wanting something different from the standard palette. For some owners, these updates represent a nice evolution of the Maverick's design language. The darkened lighting elements give the truck a slightly more aggressive presence, while the revised grille ties it more closely to Ford's current design direction. But here's the problem. The overall appearance remains essentially the same. Unlike competitors that use mid-cycle refreshes to dramatically transform a vehicle's visual identity, Ford played it safe with subtle tweaks that most people won't even notice. Park old and new Mavericks side by side, and you'll struggle to identify which is which without closely examining the grille and headlights. The controversy stems from the fact that the Maverick's styling has always been one of its weakest points. Compared to the Santa Cruz's bold, distinctive look or even the Ranger's muscular presence, the Maverick looks pretty dull. It's a safe, inoffensive design that doesn't turn heads or make a statement. Ford had an opportunity with this refresh to address those criticisms and inject some personality into the truck's appearance, but instead, they stuck with minor cosmetic adjustments that leave the fundamental design unchanged. And unfortunately, the same conservative approach applies to what's inside the cabin. Number 2, interior updates without real change. The interior updates follow the same pattern as the exterior refresh. There are changes, but the overall cabin design doesn't evolve in any meaningful way. Ford upgraded to a larger 13.2-inch touchscreen that replaces last year's 8.0-inch unit, adding wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard features. The Lariat trim introduces a new smoke truffle theme with bronze-colored accents, and there are new trim colors scattered throughout the lineup. But once again, the fundamental cabin design remains untouched. The dashboard layout is the same, the materials are the same, the low-buck feel that characterized previous model years is still there, particularly on XL and XLT trims where hard plastics dominate. The driving position still feels somewhat cramped for taller drivers, and the range of adjustment for both the driver's seat and steering wheel remains limited, a complaint that's been consistent since the Maverick's launch. The controversy isn't about what Ford added, it's about what they didn't address. The Maverick's interior has always felt less refined than the Santa Cruz, which offers noticeably more premium materials and a more thoughtfully designed cabin. Ford had an opportunity to close that gap with this refresh, but instead, they focused on technology upgrades while leaving the core interior experience essentially unchanged. But the most frustrating part might be how Ford is handling the safety technology. Number 1, more safety features but not for everyone. Ford is adding more standard driver assistance technology to the 2026 Maverick, and on paper, this looks like an unquestionably positive change. Lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and automatic high-beam headlamps are now standard across the entire lineup. These are features that improve safety and reduce driver fatigue on long trips, and making them standard means even base XL buyers get access to modern safety technology. Here's where the controversy comes in. While Ford expanded the standard safety features, the more advanced systems remain locked behind trim levels and option packages. The Lariat and Tremor models come with a significantly upgraded adaptive cruise control system that includes lane centering capability and speed limit sign recognition. Imagine driving home after a long day at work, stuck in stop-and-go traffic on the highway. Basic adaptive cruise helps, but lane centering is the feature that actually reduces the constant micro-corrections that make traffic jams exhausting. That's the technology that transforms a miserable commute into a manageable one, but Ford is keeping it exclusive to trucks that start at $40,000 and above. The frustration among buyers is understandable. Modern safety technology costs manufacturers relatively little to implement, especially at scale. Competitors are increasingly making advanced driver assistance systems standard across their lineups, recognizing that safety shouldn't be a premium feature. Ford's decision to gate the most useful safety tech behind expensive trim levels and option packages feels outdated, especially for a truck that's supposed to represent accessible, practical transportation. The 2026 Maverick updates reveal a pattern that's hard to ignore. Ford is making incremental improvements while avoiding the fundamental changes that would actually address owner complaints. The hybrid finally gets all-wheel drive, but without additional power to compensate for the extra weight. The Lobo looks aggressive but delivers no performance gains. The styling and interior receive cosmetic touches while the core design remains dated, and advanced safety features stay locked behind premium pricing. For buyers hoping the 2026 refresh would make the Maverick more competitive against the Santa Cruz or justify its rising prices, these changes feel like missed opportunities rather than genuine evolution. But the thing with Ford is that Maverick isn't the only pickup that comes with features that are questionable at best. If you're considering a midsize pickup, make sure to check out our video about critical concerns about the Ford Ranger's powertrain. Those engines deliver plenty of power, but we can't say reliability is their key strength.